I personally observe a lot of democratization in the tools that allow to create bots. Nowadays, anybody can create a bot literally in days. There are no code platforms, and this was a task before that was reserved to engineers and data scientists. This is great. Democratization is great, but democratization does not mean that the way we build this assistant shouldn't be data-driven.
Hello and welcome to a whole new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host Sahil Lamba, and today we have a technology expert with us on the show. But before I introduce you to our guest, allow me to introduce you to the magic of Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code digital CX platform, available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 187 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And for our guests, Marco Di Mandri is a principal product owner of conversational AI at ING and is a Six Sigma black belt expert. His work focuses on the delivery of visual assistants and NLP-powered solutions across all channels like mobile, web, and IVR for all the ING units. He has also had a lot of experience in designing innovative service model by leveraging digital channels in his previous projects with Vodafone. He is passionate of learning the best practices or simply sharing new ideas, especially in the digital CRM or strategy operations field. But before we into our interview with Marco, don't forget to subscribe to Encati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from the leaders around the world. Welcome, Marco.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
Sure, it's our pleasure. So I'll just start with the first question itself. How can virtual assistants become a secret weapon for product upselling?
Well, I think virtual assistant can be helpful for product upselling, and we see interesting example already in production out there in telco industry, in banking as well. I think the key aspect here is to identify a sales journey that is quite easy in terms of the number of steps, and where there is little or no advisory required for the customer to finish the journey. For example, it can be buying an add-on on top of an existing product. I would stay away from whatever has too many steps or too many information that the customer would have to input. But once you have such a use case, virtual assistant can be more effective than traditional product catalogs, as we see in app or web, because they can orient the customer immediately towards the right product just by using the information that a customer type. In this sense, well, you can have a well-designed journey, you can save some clicks, and at the end, that's what in a funnel that will increase the return on investment.
Correct. And I guess the next question follow up is right, Aaron, there. How do you see the technology evolving over the next 10 years?
Well, I think 10 years is a geological era in this field, and well, it's really hard to predict. If you just look back at 10 years ago, you will smile thinking Netflix was still renting DVDs and having a hard time convincing customer to switch to streaming. But maybe in a shorter term, what I see, the first element that I expect to see more is the transformation of chat into an asynchronous experience. This is obvious today when you interact with a chatbot, but customer will expect also to chat with humans asynchronously, pretty much like we chat with our friends on WhatsApp, I would say. I receive a message, I'm in a meeting now, so I will answer later. With the difference that customer will expect brands to answer in semi-real time, while still having the occasion to reply in an asynchronous fashion. And that will pose a bit of challenge in our scheduled capacity at our contact center. A second element that I expect to see more is higher degree of customization in our bots. And that can be enabled by using additional source of data. And I expect this to see in two distinct parts of our bot. The first and most obvious is the journeys. If you know the customer profile, the past behavior in your channel, you can move from static conversation trees to more flexible conversation, where the more specific the customer is, the faster you can give an answer, and this answer can be extremely personal. But there is a second aspect that is a bit less intuitive and is in the NLU, in the natural language understanding. I think that general purpose out of the box NLU will reach a bit their intrinsic limit, and this will happen alongside enterprise scaling up their bots to hundreds of intents. By then, I think we will have more data, and I think we will need to be able to customize this natural language understanding algorithm to our specific domain by, for example, training custom components. I see these functionalities of integrating NLU with other sources of data in the market that's starting to appear in today, and I expect that to see a bit more widely used.
Wow. Yeah, that's some vision. Uh, sure. So my next question is a loaded one. So, what are some of the opportunities in the speech recognition area and the voice assistant? What are the challenges in the voice user interfaces?
Well, I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest value chunk in speech recognition today is turning unstructured data into insight. And I'm thinking of all the phone conversation that happen in a contact center, and I'm thinking about how much data they contain, about why customers are calling, what's their reaction to which marketing campaign, what are they dissatisfied about. Until a few years ago, this was a black box, or at best something you could have qualitative insights. But now, speech to text can turn this data into text, and then enterprises can prioritize their effort in terms of which products or which campaign should be developed first. And now, to improve the training that we provide to contact center agent, to build better upselling scripts, and at the end to focus a bit more on what matters to their customer. About voice assistants, I think so far they've been a bit pretty much confined to be channels where enterprises establish their presence, but always with a limited set of use cases. And until they increase their quota in terms of usages, I think this will likely be the same. I personally see voice assistant more useful when they are embedded in an enterprise app, meaning that I want to have assistant on my account, on my telco account, or on my bank account, and then a voice assistant is there integrated in my bank app, and then I can use the voice. So there is where I see most values. For the challenges, I think there are a lot of challenges in voice, especially in the IVR. IVR is still the channel today that drives most of the volume in many industry and in many companies. And the most obvious challenge when dealing with voice bot in IVR, it's the lack of a visual UI, of course. That limits the number of depth and the possible use case you can have in that channel. This can be circumvented, for example, starting a journey in voice and continue in a text channel with a sort of omni-channel experience. Another challenge that is real today is the latency. Even the best speech to text, even the best architecture adds some latency, and that results in an experience which can be always fully conversational in voice as it is, as a matter of fact, in a chat. And that limits a bit the number of exchanges that we can have in voice and being still conversational, which for me should be around one or two exchanges max with a bot.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Any other sign bites that you would like to leave with our audience with?
Well, I think it would be that we, and I personally observe a lot of democratization in the tools that allow to create bots. Nowadays, anybody can create a bot literally in days. There are no code platforms, and this was a task before that was reserved to engineers and data scientists. This is great. Democratization is great, but democratization does not mean that the way we build this assistant shouldn't be data-driven. The way by which you identify intents, the data that you use to train these intents, even in this platform, it's key to their success. Identify intents that are coming from real data and not by human judgment. Training your brain with real customer utterances. Improve your bot by looking at where most confusion happens. A/B testing all of this. It can be no code, but should follow still a data-driven approach as we were doing before, and even when it's not performed by technical people.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Marco, for giving us your time. Your insights were really valuable to me personally, and I'm sure our audience will also will really going to enjoy this interview.
It
We'll be
was a
back
pleasure.
with a new episode. Sorry,
I was just saying it was a pleasure for me as well, and thank you for having me.
definitely. We'll be back with a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see around you for the next one.